Hello and welcome to the Game Lore Archives. Today we're discussing my favourite Elder Scrolls game, Oblivion, and its two main DLCs. Much like the Morrowind script, I'll stick exclusively to the main storyline.
As with every Elder Scrolls game, you wake up in prison and spend your time listening to another prisoner berate you.
And one of the quests in the game is to come back and kill him, and it's the best quest ever.
Suddenly you hear footsteps. Emperor Uriel Septim VII, the current ruler of the Imperial Empire, has been attacked by assassins, and his sons have been killed. He is closely followed by two members of the Blades. There's a secret passage leading out of the city, and it leads right through your cell. As Uriel spots you, he recognises you.
The Blades usher the Emperor through the tunnel before you can even ask what he's talking about. However, assassins are waiting for them in the tunnels. Uriel trusts you because he has seen you, and so allows you to join them to freedom. The Blade Warriors don't trust you and believe you're helping the assassins. However, Uriel vouches for you, knowing you are here to help, sent by the 9 Divines to aid him after his death.
Uriel tells you that he has bad dreams about these events, but never believed them until he saw you in the prison cell. He now knows that these were not dreams but visions. He hands you the Amulet of Kings and tells you to find a man named Joffrey, the only person with the knowledge of the last living son.
The second he hands this over to you, an assassin jumps out and kills him. Boris, the last blade standing, follows the Emperor's trust and tells you Joffrey can be found at the Wayne Priory near the city of Coral.
You travel to the Wayne Priory and find Joffrey,
who reveals that he is the Grand Master of the Blades.
Joffrey believes the threat is the Deadric prince Mehrunes Dagon, who will attack Nirn now the Emperor is dead and no one is available to relight the dragonfires. I think they're all booked up or something. Joffrey tells you Uriel's illegitimate son Martin is a priest in the city of Kvatch and you must light the dragonfires. You give Joffrey the Amulet of Kings to look after and head to Kvatch in case the assassins know of his existence. His death would mean the dragonfires can never be lit again, and Nirn would be at Mehrunes Dagon's mercy.
You arrive at Kvatch, and it looks like you're a little too late. The city's in ruin, and the few survivors are running for safety. The survivors claim that 3 portals opened up, followed by a larger Great Portal. Daedra ran from the portals, endlessly destroying everything. When the city fell, all but one of the portals closed. Some survivors ran to the church and are believed to be safe there now. Martin's believed to be one of those trapped in the church. The few remaining guards protect the refugees from the last gate to Oblivion and cannot help the trapped civilians until the gate's closed. So, like the adventurer/lunatic you are, obviously right at the beginning of the game with your rusty sword, you agree to enter the equivalent of hell itself and close the gate from the inside. Because, hey, demons that can destroy the entire town and the entire city guard, you can clearly take it down with your bag over your head and
your rusty sword that you'd picked up
rusty sword and dustbin lid for a shield.
A dead goblin. As you wander the barren landscape, heading towards the singular tower in the distance, a single guard is seen running back towards Kvatch. He tells you the tower is called Sigil's Keep, and a few other survivors are trapped there. You enter the tower and climb to its peak. At the apex of the tower, a Daedric guardian guards the door. You defeat the guardian and lock the door with the key found on his corpse. The room is a pedestal with a sigil stone in the centre. You take the stone and the realm collapses around you, the gate closes and you finally find yourself back in Kvatch, along with any prisoners you freed along the way, now safe and sound.
Well, safe and sound, excluding the massive mental scars from going to hell and back.
And probably physical scars as well.
Well, them too.
The captain of the guard uses this opportunity to launch a counterattack and rescue the trapped civilians. You kill the remaining Daedra and save as many civilians as possible.
You find Martin at the refugee camp, getting over the shock of the attack. Instead of helping him, give him some counselling and overcome the shock, you top off his day by telling him that his dad's dead, and also his dad was the Emperor, and if he doesn't immediately accept responsibility of the crown and the entire civilization of Tamriel, the Daedra attacks will never ever stop and keep getting worse. But nice to meet you. Even better is, in response, he's like, yeah, I completely believe you. It's cool. Lead on.
He doesn't even second guess.
No, he's just like, I just believe you. It's fine.
Well, that's a thing. You travel together to Wayne Priory when Martin's bad day continues, as you find that the assassins are attacking the Priory. You defend Martin while fighting your way through to Joffrey, who's attacked in the Priory's chapel. When you get to him, he's fighting off 2 assassins at once. You help him kill them and fight the assassins off. However, you arrive too late to save the Amulet of Kings, which was stolen. As the Wayne Priory is no longer safe, Joffrey thinks Martin should be taken to the Blade's main base of operations, the Cloud Ruler Temple. He gives you a horse from the Priory so you can all travel together.
When you get Martin safely to the Cloud Ruler Temple, Joffrey should invite you to become a member of the Blades, and he asked you to find Boris.
Boris was the Blade who was with you when the Emperor died.
Boris is investigating who is behind the assassinations and finds out where they could have taken the amulet. You help Boris investigate the crime and realise a Deadric cult who worships Miriam's Dagon are behind the attacks. The cult is called the Mythic Dawn and are led by a high elf called Mankar Cameron. You also learn that their sermons are held in Lake Arius Caverns.
You head to the caverns disguised as a member of the cult. Mankar Cameron is at the head of his followers, wearing the Amulet of Kings and reading from an ancient book called the Mysterium Xerxes, an ancient Deadric artifact written by Miriam's Dagon himself and given to Mankar Cameron. Before you can act, you are called out as a spy, and Mankar summons a portal to a place known as Paradise, which shuts behind him before you can react. You do, however, manage to steal the Mysterium Xerxes and escape from the rest of the Mythic Dawn members. You bring the book to Martin at Cloud Rule Temple.
It turns out Martin was a little bit naughty in his youth. He used to dabble in Daedric magic, so recognises the book and the danger it brings. He put the dark arts studies aside to become a priest, but remembers the precautions he must take to study the artifact. He agrees to study the book as he believes it's key to following Mankar Cameron into his portal to Paradise.
While he studies the book, you go to other cities and help them close any gates that are opening in their cities, teaching the guards how best to defend the towns. For you help the cities pledge their support and some troops to your cause to help you defend Martin and stop the danger. You also help the Blades with other odd jobs here and there, and in between Martin slowly translates the Mysterium Xerxes and learns that 4 items are needed to complete a ritual that will open the portal to Paradise. In no particular order, the items are needed for the ritual are a Deadric artifact, a Great Welkin Stone, and the blood of a divine.
Which is really difficult to get as Aedra don't walk on Nirn. You manage to gather it by going to Tiber Septim's grave and collecting his old armour. When he bled, he was mortal, but then he ascended to godhood, so luckily it still satisfies the ritual's needs.
And the final thing needed is a Great Sigil Stone, which is acquired by closing a Greater Oblivion Gate. A Greater Gate hasn't opened since Kvatch, which opened once 3 normal portals opened up. So you convince the Countess of Bruma to allow 3 portals to open in her city. The armies you have rallied to help defend the cities you enter the Great Gate, and when you have the Great Sigil and Bruma is safe, you return to Cloud Ruler Temple, where Martin opens a portal to Paradise.
Paradise is a strange word for this dimension. It certainly looks beautiful, but it features such places as Savage Garden, Terrace of Doom, and the Flooded Grotto. Its main features include daily torture and wandering danger that you can see up close and personal while they kill you and rip your guts out. To win tickets, you just need to join the Mythic Dawn and die in the service of duty. Don't miss out.
You eventually find a way to Mankar Cameron in his palace. He is a powerful mage, but eventually you manage to best him in combat and retrieve the Amulet of Kings. However, Mankar was the force holding the realm together, much like the Sigil Stone, and as he dies, the Paradise collapses around you and you find yourself back in Cloud Ruler Temple. You give Martin the Amulet of Kings and set out to the Imperial City so he can light the dragon fires.
The road to the city is long, and the horses in Oblivion are slow, and unfortunately arrive too late, even if you fast travel. Gates of Oblivion have opened throughout the Palace District, and Mairon's Dagon himself has broken through to Nirn. His presence means that lighting the dragon fires will not work, nor will attacking him. He is a Daedric prince after all. Martin has one final idea and runs into the Temple of One. He uses Akatosh's divine powers held within the amulet and transforms into an avatar of Akatosh.
Which is a huge dragon made of pure fire.
The avatar and the Daedric prince battle until finally Mehrunes Dagon is banished back into Oblivion and the avatar turns to stone. This transformation kills Martin, meaning the Septon line has now ended. However, Martin's sacrifice is not in vain, as Akatosh seals Oblivion from Nirn forevermore. And at this moment, the third era ends and the fourth era begins.
So these events mark the end of the main game, but of course there's still DLCs to discuss as well.
Now, we aren't going to cover them all, as there's like 9, and 7 of them have virtually no story attached. It's cool we get a free castle, but Songs of Real Estate rarely make it into the annals of history.
But damn, what about the horse armour?
All that horse armour.
So the Knights of the Nine DLC is the story of Pelennor Whitestrake and his nemesis Umaril the Unfeathered. When St. Alessia escaped from slavery from the Aelids, Pelennor Whitestrake was an ancient warrior blessed by the 8 divines who helped Alessia wage war with the elves. In the final battle, the last king of the Aelids, Umaril, fought Pelennor in open combat. Pelennor won the fight, however, was badly wounded and was killed soon after. Umaril's body was killed, but his spirit was taken to heaven in the Daedric prince Meridia's realm of Oblivion. Now, at the beginning of the 4th era, Umaril returns and you must pilgrimage to the 9 shrines of the Aedra to gain their blessings for the strength to beat him. When blessed, you gather the pieces of Pelennor's ancient armour, a blessed relic that will help you defeat Umaril. With the armour equipped, you face Umaril in open combat. Pelennor only had the blessing of 8 divines.
So, as Talos hadn't even been born as a mortal when this happened, so hadn't ascended to godhood yet.
The strength of the 8 divines was just enough to beat Umaril's physical form, but with an extra blessing from Talos, you're able to beat Umaril in combat and then follow his spirit into the afterlife and destroy his spirit as well. The return to Nirn kills you, however the divines bring you back washed of all sin.
And the largest and most known DLC is, of course, the Shivering Isles. This DLC begins with a rumour of a strange door appearing off the coast of Bravil. You investigate this rumour and arrive at a door just as an insane civilian comes out the door and attacks. A Bravil guard stationed there warns you this is not the first person to venture into the door and come back insane. He is interrupted by a strange voice booming out asking for a champion to step forth. You accept the invitation, because you entered hell with a rusty sword, what could go wrong? And you enter the portal.
You teleported to a small, strange room with no doors or windows, and sitting at the table is a man named Haskill waiting for you. Haskill explains that he's Chamberlain of Shir-Gorath, the Daedric Prince of Madness. Haskill also explains that you're now in the Shivering Isle, his master's plane of Oblivion.
Your crossing doesn't break the new seal made by Akatosh, as a door was presented as an open invitation, so it doesn't pose a threat to Nirn in any way.
Shir-Gorath is looking for a champion, but people who cross into the realm unprepared will go insane. You agree to enter, of course. The small room vanishes into a puff of butterflies and leaves you on the outskirts of a strange new realm. Your first task is to find Shir-Gorath, who is in the city New Sheoth. To gain access to the city, you kill the gatekeeper and choose which path to take. One leads through Mania,
A land of bright, vibrant colours guarded by the Golden Saints.
Or Dementia, which reflects the darker side of madness. A grey landmass full of overgrown roots and is defended by the Dark Seducers. When you reach New Sheoth, you are granted an audience with the Mad God himself.
The reason you were invited to the Isle was to prevent the Grey March. The story goes that originally there was no Prince of Madness. Instead, there was a very powerful Daedric prince called Jyggalag. Jyggalag was the Daedric Prince of Order, and so mapped out every event in the universe from past into the far, far future. Because of this, he believed everything was predetermined, and so individuality was an illusion. His powers grew so vast that the other Daedra began to fear him. Their curse transformed Jyggalag into everything he hated. Shir-Gorath, Prince of Madness and Chaos. However, this curse breaks at the end of every era. Sheogorath reverts back to Jyggalag, who then destroys the Shivering Isles, transforming everything into a grey crystal wasteland. After the destruction, he reverts back, where Sheogorath must rebuild his realm from scratch. The first signs of the Grey March have already begun. Grey crystal obelisks have already appeared, spawning Knights of Order endlessly. To end this cycle once and for all, Sheogorath has a plan: to turn you into the Prince of Madness, so you can openly fight Jyggalag.
Before he allows you to be the new Mad God, Sheogorath wants you to understand the land you'll be ruling, so tells you to go and meet the Duke of Mania and the Duchess of Dementia, and learn more about their respective lands' customs. He then gives you multiple tasks so you can become better known until he finally thinks you're ready for power. But not his mantle yet. He wants you to replace either the Duke of Mania or the Duchess of Dementia.
Depending on which side you choose to take over affects future quests and events, so if we don't mention where some event takes place going forward, it's because it changes.
Becoming the leader of the land has some unforeseen side effects. The existing leaders have become close, so as you complete the ritual to take charge of your chosen realm, the other leader interrupts, furious at you and Sheogorath, thinking that they had been betrayed. They storm off, pledging themselves to Jyggallag's army.
While you've been growing in rank and getting well known, Jyggallag's army of Order have been busy taking over a section of Shivering Isles known as the Fringe. You take your new army there,
which is either the Golden Saints if you took Mania, or the Dark Seducers if you now rule Dementia,
and lead them to the Fringe to fight the army of Order back. A great obelisk has opened on the top of the tower, and knights are endlessly spawning from it. You kill many and take their crystalline hearts, using them to destroy the obelisk and stopping the knights from spawning.
After this, you build a new gatekeeper to replace the one you killed to help defend the realm, before preventing another attack. This time against a power source keeping either the Golden Saints or the Dark Seducers alive, led by the Betrayer. You manage to fight the Order off and save the army, but the Betrayer manages to escape.
This attack may have been stopped, but it was not a failure. It was a distraction which worked. When you return to Sheogorath, he turns into Jyggalag before he gives you his powers. However, not all hope is lost. Haskill tells you that to gain the Mad God's powers, you must restore the staff of Sheogorath. Haskill doesn't know how to do this, but does know who can help. You travel to Knife Point Hollow and find the last ruins of Jyggalag that is kept permanently on the Shivering Isles. In it is a man called Deus, who is tasked in remembering everything that was in the library.
And this is where every event ever happened was stored. So he's a pretty smart guy. Either that or he's got a good memory.
Yeah. He aids you in rebuilding the physical staff and tells you to restore its properties. You must imbue the staff with the waters found in the Font of Madness,
which is in Sheogorath's palace.
However, the font has been corrupted by the Order's powers. You travel to the water source and see that the traitor is the one corrupting the font. You kill them and take up the mantle as the new Deadric, Prince of Madness.
Jyggalag is surprisingly not happy with your new powers, so starts his assault on New Sheoth. You battle wave after wave of knights until the Deadric Prince himself arrives. Usually you'd not even be able to harm a Deadric Prince, but imbued by your newfound powers you manage to defeat him and break the never-ending cycle. Jyggalag is freed from the curse to be the Deadric Prince of Order, while you take up the mantle of Sheogorath and began to rule the Shivering Isles. And this ends our episode on the...
Wait. That may end the events, but there is still a massive thing we must discuss. You say that the champion of Cyrodiil becomes Sheogorath, but does he really? There's a lot of other evidence that suggests otherwise. So firstly is Jyggalag himself. So the most powerful, controlling Deadric Prince is cursed by other princes. You would think he would be pretty angry when released and seek some kind of revenge, but as of Skyrim 200 years later, there's no mention of Jyggalag in the lore. And, you know, there's no... From the beginning of the 4th era onwards, there's no conflicts or strange behaviours of any other Daedric lords.
So, he's lying low and biding his time. If he really has a record of every event ever, he knew the curse would happen, and when he would be able to escape it. He probably already knows when and how to take his revenge.
Which is a very good point, but there's other evidence pointing towards this all being one big fantasy, like Sheogorath himself. So, we know Sheogorath is now gone, and the player replaces him. So, when we visit a Deadric shrine and see Sheogorath himself in Skyrim, why does he look exactly the same and sound exactly the same as he does in Oblivion? You're telling me there is a completely new god, but he looks, sounds, and acts the same as the old one. I'm not buying it.
Well, it's weird, but Bethesda are hardly going to ignore the entire story behind a huge piece of DLC and just sort of pretend it never happened, are they?
They don't really have to. I'm not saying that the door to the Shivering Isles never happened. I'm actually fairly certain the portal opened into Oblivion. It's what happened after that I doubt. In most Elder Scrolls games, your character is special. You're the Neverina in Morrowind, the Dragonborn in Skyrim. However, in Oblivion, you don't kill Mehrunes Dagon. Martin does. You're just a capable warrior who helped someone get to the Temple of One. In fact, you actively avoid the fight with Mehrunes Dagon because you couldn't hurt him, you couldn't kill him. You're just a good fighter. But, you know, there's loads of them.
Okay, so what's your point?
Well, my point is, when you arrive to the portal in the Shivering Isles, you are told that multiple people have gone in and have come back insane. If you're nothing really special, just a strong warrior, it's possible that this exactly happened to you. You went into the portal recklessly, as we've discussed. You've charged into hell before without knowing what's going to happen. You've charged into this portal and you were not ready to visit the Daedric Realm of Madness. It was too much and you went insane. You imagined the entire thing, right from the word go. Why else would there be no difference? Why would the events never be mentioned? I think if the champion of Cyrodiil became a Daedric prince, it would be a well-known event. Documented, something. And this is kind of something that I'd like to hear everyone else's opinions on. Because the one counter-argument is that, you know, if he gets some powers, he can technically use them outside of the portal. So what do you guys think? Do you think that the expansion really happened, or do you think he just went insane? Let me know in the comments.
And now that really does end the episode on Oblivion, which means we're now in the 4th era and nearly up to date with the Elder Scrolls lore. But don't worry, we still have a few more episodes to go. So thanks for watching and don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you next time.